Alrighty, El Guapo here with the first video, breaking down 4 simple principles. So basically, how to build your dream body with these 4 simple principles. For watching a video, you're probably starting from one of these two positions. So you're either a fatty right here, and you want to get big, swole city, lean, whatever the case may be, or you're super skinny and you're trying to get big, swole city, lean. Obviously, we all want that anime character body, want that superhero body. I'm gonna break it down, like I said, with these 4 simple principles and show you how to achieve that exactly. So basically, Guapo came from this position right here. He was a fatty, weighed about, I'd say 240, and then leanest I ever got 155. So I got more skinny. Now I weigh a good about 170, finishing up that lean bulk. But without that further ado, let's get right into this video. And basically, like I said, if you implement these 4 simple principles, your life will change. So you're gonna master your body, and you're basically gonna be able to do anything you want in life, because that body will also reflect your mind. So let's get right into it. Yep, we're cleaning this whiteboard, but I'm gonna get right into the video. All right. So you said, Guapo, what are these 4 principles? Number one, most important right here. You guessed it. Mindset. This is the most important, like I said. Until you master this one, you're not going to be able, the other ones don't mean shit. So just know that. Here is the second one, nutrition. Third, you already know, is going to be training. 4, right here, rest. Alrighty, y'all, that is the video. No, I'm just kidding. But alright, mindset. We have to be before we become, have to change the identity, or none of this stuff matters. If we can't do this stuff consistently or with discipline, then we're not even going to be able to achieve any of our goals when it comes to fitness. 2, nutrition. So this one, if we don't have our nutrition dialed in, so if we're skinny and we're not eating enough, we're not going to gain muscle. If we're fat and we're eating too much, simple, not going to get lean. Third, training. If we want to build muscle, if we want to build a good cardio, vascular machine, if we want to have better lungs, if we want to have better heart, we have to train. And then 4, rest. If we want to receive the results from, training, nutrition, and even our mind, we have to rest. So let's go and start with number 1. The most important one. And I'm about to tell you why. You say, Guapo, we've already heard this a million times. We heard it from Goggins, we've heard it from Kobe, RIP. We've heard it from all these people. Yeah, well, why do you think you heard it from all these people? It's the most important. Here we go. Alrighty. Number 1, mindset. You have to be before you become. What does this look like, you guys? So, we have to change our identity. Basically, if you're a youngin' like me, you gotta switch from being an NPC or side character, and you gotta start looking at yourself like the main character of your life. Too many people are living their life as a NPC or side character. They're just living their day, scrolling, playing video games, eating like trash, doing all that stuff. So they don't have the identity of their best self or their best version. So you say, Guapo, what can we do to switch our identity? I don't feel like the main character of my life. So there's a few things we could do. First thing, we can implement good habits. You say, what are good habits? This will be subjective to the person. So some people, their good habits may be, like I said, they quit gooning, they eat healthy, they're waking up on a certain time, they're training hard, um, they're not late, certain things like that. So those are the good habits. For me, like I said, nutrition, training, getting my rest. If I implement those habits, which are my three principles, three pillars, then I already know everything is going to be good. But we need to be consistent, disciplined, patient. These are some characteristics. And then we also need to detach from the outcome. If you already know you're doing the right things, then, this should be the main thing. When we detach from the outcome and just do it without looking for the results, it's going to happen a lot quicker. And we also are got to be patient. So you can't do this for a week, 2 weeks, and expect to see instant results. You got to be super consistent, and over time, you're going to become undeniable practically. But something I like to do, like I said, is I like to stop acting like the NPC or side character. I'm a big anime guy, big into like comics, stuff like that. This works for me, but like I said, I try to be the main character, level up in life, stop being an NPC, alright? Alright, you say, Guapo, what are some things we could do to strengthen our mind? Alright? My favorite thing right here, and this is really a cheat code in life. Intermittent fasting. So this basically tells your mind that you're in control, not your stomach. So how does this look like for some people? This may be 12 hours of not eating, 12-hour eating window period. This may be a 16 hour eating period for 8-hour window, 20-hour what's it called? Not eating period, sorry, for 4 hours eating, etc. So this is a great way to strengthen your mind. And basically, like I said, your mind is control, not your stomach. Does your stomach have a brain? Your mind has, your brain is your mind. Well, they're different, but you're in control. This tells your body you're in control. So you start doing these habits day by day. And yes, your life starts changing. So first we have to change our identity. So you have to start looking at yourself as a healthy person, fit person, jacked person before you are actually in that position. Then the world has it has to basically bend down to you and follow those rules. Because when you're already acting like something, then the universe will match that. Or if you guys want to conceptualize it as God, etc. Doesn't matter to me. I'm just trying to help y'all. But first, we need to change our mindset. You need to believe. You need to identify your purpose. Why do you want to get fit? Your North Star, your goals. Identify these first. Once you get your purpose, North Star, your goals, all that figured out, then you can start implementing the next three principles. But you got to know why you're doing this. If you're not doing this for anyone but yourself, then it's not going to work. Super simple, super easy. Start looking at yourself like the main character. And then, like I said, just do this stuff consistently with discipline. Be patient, detach from the outcomes. Use certain tools that will help you be more mindful and help you identify your goals. So you say, what can we do? You could journal. So write out your thoughts on paper. You can meditate. You can watch films, watch movies, be inspired, etc. Sorry, this is my handwriting is shit, y'all, but we're working through this, we're getting through this. You guys are learning. Don't fall in love with any of these methods. Like I said, these are just used to kind of point you in the right direction and put you in that sense of the good mindset. And as that sense of good mindset, you need to be confident. You need to be happy, come from a powerful position. So always think whenever you start your journey, what would so we're right here, point A. We want to get to point B. So what would person in point B? This is where we want to be. We'll say DB, desired body. So what would I'm here? Guapo's here. So Guapo's here. What would Guapo do to get to DB? So if we're doing something and we're not supposed to, which is a huge indicator. So right here, guilt. If you feel guilty about something, that is a key indicator that you shouldn't be doing it. So don't do it. All right. So we're in point A. Over time, we're gonna trickle, get to DB. But always when we are in doubt, we need to frame it. What would person in DB do, even if I'm in, position A? So once I frame it like that, everything will become super easy. And guys, you got to know that obstacles are going to come in your way because that old identity is not going to want to die. The old identity is going to want to stay and be there as long as it can because, as I mentioned, the universe likes order. It doesn't want to die all these bad habits it's been doing and wants to stay around. It doesn't want you to get here, so there is going to be resistance. Be prepared for resistance, but always come back to this, your purpose and your North Star. Once you have that down, then you'll be able to clearly identify why you want to be in that certain position. But let's get into the second pillar, which will be nutrition. So most people train, they do the other stuff, they have a good mindset, maybe they're training hard, all this great stuff, but their nutrition is not dialed in. So we're gonna lock this in right now. We're gonna use, let's see what color I have in my pocket. We're gonna use purple. So right here, to nutrition. Depending on if you're fat or if you're skinny, there's a couple things we could do. All right. So for fat, we need to be in a calorie deficit. If we're skinny, we need to be in a surplus. You say, Guapo, what does this mean? So basically, depending on your body weight, times this by 14 or 16, and you'll get your maintenance calories roughly. Then, however much we're doing when it comes to training, that will be the calories burned. So, training, calories burned right here. So, we'll do a quick example. So, let's say your maintenance is 2,000 and then you're burning 500 calories. All right, you need to be at 2,500 calories. This is your maintenance. So, this is just if you want to stay at the same weight. Um, main gain basically. But if we want to be in a deficit, this is, pretty normal, I'd say. So 300 to 500 calories for the deficit. And then we're going to say for the surplus, we'll use the same kind of premise. Like I said, this is more natural, but if we want to be more extreme, I've seen people go all the way to 500 to 1,000. Same here. But there's caveats. Caveat for this, you might feel like shit if you go in an aggressive cut. The plus, you're still gonna lose weight. All right, surplus. If you go in a mega surplus, caveat, gain extra fat. Gain extra fat, but extra strength. and muscle. And it's going to take you longer to lose this. So you're going to feel like shit, but lose weight quick. So this is just the basics when it comes down to either gaining muscle or losing weight as it comes to nutrition. So if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a deficit. If you want to gain muscle, you need to be in a surplus. So, like I said, find out your maintenance calories. It's just your body weight, 14 times 14 or 16. This is probably going to be, it's a rough estimation of your maintenance calories. This is just the example, like I said, and then on top of that, your training, and then walking, etc. But like I said, this is a good estimation, and then just off of training as well. So you say focus. So what do we need to eat, Guapo? So our macros, we'll keep it very simple. So protein is the basis for building blocks of muscle. So it's going to be 0.8 to 1.2 grams per body weight. So if I am 170 pounds, I need to eat 170 grams of protein. For our fats, this needs to be 0.4 to 0.5 grams times body weight. Then for carbs, this just fill in the rest. So this is for hormone support, and then this is to build muscle, and then this is for energy. Rest of calories. So you say carbs are to fill in the rest of your calories. This is to give you energy. My main thing would be if you want to lose weight and gain muscle, the best way to do this. So at least for carbs, we want to do fruits, simple carbs. This is going to be before training. And this is sticking to intermittent fasting, that 1 to 2 meals a day. Like I said, this is the true hack. You're going to, first of all, you're going to get crazy sleep. And then if you're super fat, you're going to, gain, or if you're fat, sorry, you're going to lose weight super quickly. But for the carbs, fruit, simple carbs before training. So that could be mangoes, bananas, kiwis are some of my favorites, honey, dates, etc. Then after, for our carbs, we want to focus on rice, potatoes. We could do even sourdough bread. These slower digesting carbs. They're slower, so we don't want to be bogged down before our training. And then protein. We want to prioritize whole foods. You can still eat like shit, y'all, and gain muscle and lose weight. So I prefer to feel good whenever I'm working out, so I eat whole foods. So whole foods. For protein, we got beef, eggs, chicken. The list goes on. Turkey, fish, etc. Whey. Just make sure you're not getting any cheap brands. If you can, y'all, focus on organic. But if you can't, still focus on whole foods. Don't use this as an excuse to eat like shit. Alright? So organic, whole foods, stick to that. Don't eat like shit. Alright? Super simple. And then fats, as far as those go, those will be like Parmesan cheese, butter, olive oil, egg yolks, dark chocolate is overpowered as well, etc. So, if we want to be in a deficit, 300 to 500 calories. If we want to be in a surplus, 300 to 500 above our maintenance. And then intermittent fasting, we still, like I said, if you're just starting, just do this 12 hours, not eating, 12 hours eating, and then through these 12 hours, y'all, we just drink water. Don't overcomplicate anything. Seen some people kind of do like 0 calorie drinks and whatnot, stuff like that. But just if you're super morbidly obese, stick to a zero sugar electrolyte. So, um, Element makes a good one. Trace Minerals makes a good one. Red Mint makes a great one. So we're just gonna drink this through those 12 hours. If you're more experienced, fast for 16 hours, then you can eat for 8 hours. This works really good for athletes. This is mostly what I do. Or you could do 24 hours and or like basically like 23, and you eat for like 1 hour. So you just eat one big meal. But if you're morbidly obese, you can even push it a little bit more. I don't really suggest this because it's just better to be patient and just do this slowly over time. But you can even do 48-hour or 72-hour fast with zero sugar electrolytes. So this is gonna put you in a ketosis, so just like a supercharged fat burning mode, and you're just gonna burn stuff super quickly. So yeah, sorry, it was like a fly or a bug over there. All right. So if we want to lose weight, we need to be in deficit. If we want to gain muscle, we need to be a surplus. We need to focus on zero point 0.8 to 1.2 grams of protein per body weight. For our fats, we need to focus on zero point 0.5 or zero point 0.4 to zero point 0.5 for our body weight, and for the carbs, we fill in the rest. If we could afford organic food, do that. If not, still stick to whole foods. Don't use this as an excuse to eat like shit. All right, for carbs, pre-training. So, for example, if we're doing a 16 to 8 hour, we're gonna do 8 hours. So pre-meal, we're gonna do some fruit, and then I would just suggest maybe 2 or 3 eggs, or just a protein shake. And then you could do a little bit of honey, dates, rice cakes, etc. And then for our next meal, so we're still in that 8 hour window. We could split this into two, or like I said, I like to do this too. We could just do one. So we're gonna focus on beef, eggs, chicken, um, turkey, um, yogurt, stuff like that. And then we're gonna focus on our slower digesting carbs: rice, potatoes, sourdough bread. There's other carb sources, but those are really the ones I prefer. And then for fats, you got your Parmesan cheese, butter. These have a lot of calories, so we don't want to go crazy on this. But as far as nutrition goes, y'all, this is as simple as it gets. You don't need to do any crazy keto, carnivore diets. Unless you're super obese, like I said, there is a method that you could do for this. You could do, like I said, 48, 72s, even 96-hour fast, but you just drink the zero sugar electrolyte, and then you fast for that certain amount of time. So this will basically look like you're not gonna feel the best, but it's gonna put you in a deep state of ketosis. So you're gonna be shredding that fat super quick. But as far as nutrition, y'all, this is as simple as I get. Like I said, you don't need it. There's no crazy diets that y'all looking for. Just stick to these principles, and then you either gain muscle or lose weight. Or if you just want to be in maintenance, keep it around here. You'll maintain as well. So next, training. Training is going to be subjective, y'all. But I like to train like a hybrid. So people have a bad stigma on this, but if you want to just do bodybuilding, you could do that too. If you want to just do powerlifting, you could do that too. If you just want to be strictly a marathon person, you could do that too. The first two principles still apply. So don't get that confused. For our next color, we'll be using pink. Alrighty, training. Alright, y'all, you gotta train if you want to get your dream body. You can't just eat healthy and just do easy stuff, alright? So, what does this look like for you? You could do powerlifting, like I said, bodybuilding, pickleball, BJJ, boxing, ballet, don't know how to spell that, but it's okay, dancing. The list goes on, alright, y'all? Depending on your goals, this is going to be subjective for every person. But my recommendation would be do it 3 to 4 times a week, especially if you're natural. If you want to lift and gain muscle, do this 3 times a week. I would say do a full body split. So do a wide range of different exercises. I would say 3 times because you need your body needs time to recover. So 72 hours for your muscles to recover. Doing full body. So this could look like weighted dips for one of the full body days. Weighted dips. We'll go down to this pull-ups, weighted pull-ups as well. Then we do heavy rows. Then we also do dumbbell bench, flat bench, and then so we'll just call this A. Then we do kettlebell swings, and then lunges. Then for day B, we could do trap bar deadlift, do squats, could do Bulgarian split squats. Sorry, I just spelled that horrible. Jeez. And then we could also do incline bench, and then we could do lat pull downs. So this is just a sample on full body. The good thing is you're gonna get gains from this. Gives you enough time to do, enough time to chill, recover. But I always suggest y'all having like an actual true hobby you actually enjoy. BJJ, boxing, hiking, something like that. Another thing I truly suggest, like I said, if you want to get in the best shape of your life, zone 2 cardio. So this is just cardio that you could do prolonged. So it'll be like stairmaster. It could be the skier. It could be walking on an incline. But you should be able to hold a conversation at this pace. Then for more intensity, this is going to increase your VO2 max. So VO2 max is your ability for your lungs to convert oxygen, I believe, into the bloodstream and then just basically be efficient. So this is going to help with your heart, and then this will help with the lungs, but this is going to be intense. So this will be zone 4 to zone 5. And sorry, y'all, for beginners, you start at 30 minutes and you can go all the way up to 60 minutes. For this, we're going to do 20 minutes, and the max we want to be in this is like 3 to 5. But it's going to be short bursts. So, for example, it's going to be sprints. So, sorry, we'll go back to zone 2 real quick. So, incline walk, stairmaster, ski erg, etc. God, that is horrible. Ski erg. Alright, VO2 max. It could be sprints, kettlebell, circuit, ski erg. You can get it really high too, but it's gonna be splits. So it's gonna be like heart rate's going up, 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 up. Then we rest for like, it could be 3 to 5 minutes. Then we're spiking it again, 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 spiking it again. Do this for like 5 to 10 rounds. So 5 to 10 rounds for 20 minutes on zone 4, 3 to 5 on zone 5. Zone 5 is redlining, so this is all out as hard as you can, and this is basically right before that. So you can't hold a conversation at all. You're going to be basically dying. As far as for this one goes, y'all, this is just going to be a steady line. So this one will be like, I think for the average person, it's going to be like 125 beats per minute to 130, or I'll say 140 beats per minute. And then this one will be like, I think it's 160 to 170 for zone 4. and then 170 to like all the way to 200 for zone 5. But highly recommend cardio. You only need to do this like 1 to 2 times per week. Same goes for VO2 max. So if you really just do this stuff for training, you're gonna get a crazy physique. Obviously, depending on your goals. The other sample could be like, same thing, just kettlebell swings, kettlebell snatches, and then like maybe a core exercise on that third day, or I mean a core circuit when it comes to that third day. And other than that, you should be pretty good when it comes to training. But I always suggest to find something you like to do, but do this at a high intensity, y'all. You don't want to be doing this half-ass. You know what I mean? You want to be putting your effort into this. This is how you're going to improve when it comes to training. Like I said, think of your favorite anime characters, your favorite superheroes. When they're doing that training arc, they're always pushing themselves. So put yourself in that mindset and push yourself through these training regimens. Like I said, it could be different for someone else. For a power lifter, they might just be doing squat, bench, deadlift. For a bodybuilder, they might just be doing, bodybuilding type exercises. I like to do stuff like this. It's more functional. I feel strong. I also enjoy Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, do a little bit of boxing. So I like to be functional. I like to, move quick and be able to do that. When you kind of are doing stuff like this, yes, you'll be strong, but you're not necessarily going to be super healthy. And then same as this goes for this, it just feels super good when I do my zone 2 training or my VO2 max training. This stuff is not supposed to be easy. So like I said, they're going to be sprints, kettlebell circuits, ski erg, and this one's more going to be chill. You should be able to read a book, hold a conversation. Your beats per minute, so your heart rate should be at 125 beats per minute to 140 beats per minute for that zone zone 4 to zone 5 training. It will be 160 to 170, and then for that red line, you're only going to be 3 to 5 minutes up there, 170 to 200. As I mentioned, y'all, sorry about that shit handwriting, but yeah, y'all keep training simple. I mean, enjoy training. Do something you love. Find something you love. You know, go find a little softball league. Like I said, powerlifting, bodybuilding. If you just like functional training, if you like CrossFit, do that. Like, this is what I like to do. But as I mentioned, 3 to 4 weeks if you're natural, or lift 3 to 4 times a week if you're natural, and then make sure you're resting in between those sessions, 72 hours. And if you're trying to get lean, this is a must, y'all. For fatties, make sure you're doing zone 2 at least 2 times per week, I would say. 30 to 60 minutes, you're going to get shredded. Let's go. And then, like I said, this is going to spare your muscles, so don't get scared even if you're trying to build muscle. Do a little bit of cardio. Alrighty, y'all. Now we're into the stretch. Our last one, rest. This is what people neglect a lot. People neglect it, but it's important. It's one of the most important things. You guys want to get bigger, lose weight, but you don't want to sleep. You don't want to relax. So, I threw my other one, so we're going to have to switch back to the purple. Right here. Rest. What does this mean? You guys already know what it means. We need, right here, we need 7 to 9 hours of sleep. This doesn't mean that you're in bed for 7 hours. This means you're in bed for, a good while and you're sleeping for 7 hours. So what does this mean? That means if you're in bed at 12 and you wake up at 7, you're not getting 7 hours of sleep, y'all. It takes time to go to sleep. So it means you're in bed at 12, you're waking up at 8. So you're at least getting 7.5 hours of sleep because it takes some time to go to sleep. Some tools that you can use to track your rest will be Whoop, Apple Watch. I think Garmin is one. These are good trackers, y'all, to help track your fitness data. But don't live and die by those, alright? Like I said, I've used both of these in the past. Don't know how good this one is. I know Fitbit has one too. but they're super helpful when it comes to sleep and seeing trends. Once you get this data, you'll be able to kind of see what helps you and what doesn't. But y'all, this is the most important thing. 7 to 9 hours of sleep. If you prioritize this, you're gonna build muscle. You're gonna build muscle. God dang. Lose weight. Your hormones are gonna be good. Bada bing, bada boom, etc. What can we do for a rest? We could take magnesium before bed. We can make sure we're drinking, well, this is in general, 3 to 4 liters of water per day. This is a non-negotiable. And going back to the mindfulness, you can meditate, have some time for stillness, do nothing, relax. Can't always be doing something every day and expect your body to be repairing. So as far as rest, y'all, it is super simple. There's no reason to really get super complicated with it. You guys gotta rest. Make sure you're drinking water. Get those electrolytes in. As far as nutrition, I'm gonna kind of touch up on this one last time, but it complements rest. So I did forget to mention this earlier when it comes to nutrition. Also prioritize micronutrients. So that this will come with whole foods, but that means we prioritize our macros, so our protein, carbs, and fats. But we also need to make sure we prioritize our micros. So these are our vitamins. There's a good supplement out there I highly recommend, not affiliated with them at all, but Optimized Minerals. This will hit all your micros for the day. Optimized Minerals, you just do the tincture of the vitamin tincture of soluble fats, and then just a regular minerals. So you get all your minerals for the day. This is a good premise, but like I said, if you focus on whole foods, you're not necessarily going to have to worry about those micronutrients. But if you're just doing like, let's say, you're still hitting your macros, so maybe you're doing like a lot of pasta dishes, but you're not really having any vegetables necessarily in there, or any fruits, or you're doing like burger sandwiches, stuff like that. You can even do like fast food and, like I said, build muscle or lose weight as long as you're following those specific premises when it comes to nutrition. But like I said, you're gonna feel like shit, so don't do that. You want good hormones. You want to feel good. But yeah, prioritize 7 to 9 hours of sleep. We can use these to help us track our data, but don't fall in love with them. This will help you build the muscle, lose the weight, and your hormones will be amazing. You could do magnesium before sleep. That helps a lot. Even do melatonin. But I'm not going to suggest that. You know what I mean? 3 to 4 liters per water per day is a must. Meditate. We need to do a little bit of stillness so we can relax. Going back to those nutrition, hit the micronutrients. Not affiliated with them, but Optimized Minerals is always a good company. Also, we could one more supplement. I'm not really big on recommending supplements, but just do a little bit of creatine. Creatine, mono, buy a good company. You could just chat GPT it. Don't overcomplicate this stuff, y'all. Yeah, so going back to it, gonna wrap this up. Hope y'all got some great value out of this video. Guapo mode, guapo style. Hope y'all like the whiteboard. So, what are the 4 principles? Right here to do a quick little recap. Mindset. Basically, switch internal before we see the external results. If you don't shift this first, you're not going to see any results. 2, nutrition. Based on if you want to lose weight or gain muscle need to be in a deficit or surplus. How do we know how many calories we need? We can figure that out by our maintenance calories. So maintenance is 14 or 16 times your body weight. Then you figure out your maintenance, figure out how much calories you're burning. Just need a rough estimate. Then we want to be 300 to 500 above or below that, depending on our goals. I always suggest intermittent fasting, but keep it simple. If you guys don't want to do that, don't have to do that. But like I said, I treat life like a video game. I think it is truly a hack. If you do intermittent fasting, you're gonna shed weight quick. You're gonna save a lot of time, so you have stuff to do. You can just do the other stuff in your life that you need to do. Keep it simple, y'all. zero point 0.8 to 1.2 grams per body weight for the protein. Then for the fats, we do 0.4 to 0.5 for the body weight. Then fill in the rest with the carbs. Before the meal, before your pre-workout, do clean carb sources, simple digesting. Like I said, honey, fruit, stuff like that. Then after, keep those for the satiating carbs, potatoes, rice, etc., pasta. Keep it simple. Keep it whole foods, y'all. Then, as far as training goes, I always suggest lift intensity with intensity. Sorry, training. Lifting with intensity 3 to 4 times a week. It depends if what your goals are. I always say lift regardless, y'all. It's gonna help you live longer. You're gonna look cool, etc. You want to be an anime character, right? Lift. All right, do cardio. Same thing, 2 to 3 times a week. You could do zone 2, say 2 times a week, or you could do VO2 max training. Same thing, 1 to 2 times per week. We'll do this too, 1 to 2 times per week. So 2 to 3 times per week, cardio. You could do this more, y'all. Mostly this one. This one you're gonna be super fatigued. I would even say you could do this 4 times a week, 5 times. If you're trying to lose weight, do that zone 2. It's gonna be muscle sparing. But training, do something you enjoy, find something you enjoy, lift with intensity 3 to 4 times a week. Don't do a crazy amount of volume. Keep it simple. There's a lot of good resources online. Like I said, I don't know what your goals are specifically. You can go back in the video and see what type of training split Guapo would do. But as far as that, 3 to 4 times a week, 72 hours, rest in between per each muscle group. Don't do any stupid volume. You're gonna grow if you lift hard. So keep it simple. Cardio, same thing, zone 2, 1 to 2 times per week. You could even do 4 to 5. Just depends how much weight you want to lose. That's just a conversation type cardio. And then this is all out cardio. You're doing spikes, then you're resting, spikes, and then you're resting. Last one, y'all, rest. We need proper rest for our muscles to recover. So we need to drink water, 3 to 4 liters a day. Sleep 7 to 8 hours a day. These are non-negotiables, by the way. And then trackers. Trackers help with data, but don't live by it. Alrighty. Hope y'all enjoyed the video. Got that great knowledge right there down. Like I said, y'all, these are the only 4 principles you need. Stop overcomplicating and stop looking for secrets. You got this. Change your life. If you have any questions, let me know. Go to my Instagram at Guapo Ascends. TikTok, I think it's guapo.exe. YouTube, Guapo Ascends. You guys already know. Have a great day. Let's go. Yeah.